Hey guys, cold.brew here. Welcome to another Racial Legends video. Guys, this one will be all about Dungeons 25. So we are on the test server right now. You can see I have got 1 million gems. I'm gonna show you my teams for Dungeons 25. We do have access to all the new dungeons. By the way, we also have access to the missions, which is cool, I guess, but the missions don't really show anything. They show like a Dracomorph heal here, but that's just a placeholder until they introduce the new champion, who's going to be the reward for finishing 180 additional quests after Arbiter. So as you can see, these are not the quests. These are the quest number 1 that you have all the way to Arbiter. That's why you're watching this. And by the way, I can actually see some retroactive completion of some of the missions. I think this is a new addition. I'm not sure, but anyway, this video is going to be about Dungeons 25, guys. I'll show you my teams and give you my own thoughts about all the dungeons. So you guys might be aware that Dungeons 21 to 25 are going to be introduced to the game, and these will have different affinities than 20, okay? So Dungeon 25 compared to Dungeon 20 for Spider, for example, is way different, and it has a totally different difficulty because from 21 to 25, bosses gain the same abilities as Doom Tower bosses, so they cannot get damaged by more than 10% by any enemy max HP damaging skill or poison explosion, and their turn meter cannot be reduced. Well, it can be reduced, but it's a 50% reduction of the amount that it's stated on the skill instead. So for example, Army Gear's 30% becomes now 15%. So let's start first things first with the easier one out of them all. That's going to be Dungeon 25 for Dragon. This is my team that I'm using. I think all stage 25s will need Lydia in there and Seer. These are the two MVPs for sure. No questions asked. I mean, you don't even need to use Battle Khazar here, but if you do have Battle Khazar, he can definitely be used. Like, this team is the most budget I think I have for stage 25 that does it in a very reasonable time. So let's go in there. You guys are gonna see what it does. It's the known usual Seer nuking of the waves. So Seer is gonna go and just take all the waves down. Easy, right? By the way, these waves are level 350. Insane amount of health. You can't really do it without a Seer in a fast time at the moment with the champions that we do have. In my opinion, I didn't have the most amount of time in the world to take it down, but you can see 25 seconds to reach the boss. That's an amazing time. And then you just need poisoners to take down the boss, because enemy max HP damaging skills like Seer's buff strip and explosion does a fixed amount of damage, and then it's all about the poisons, which are applied by both Feign and Battle Khazar there. So the boss will be hitting pretty hard, so you might even need to get in someone like a poisoner in here. So you'll see how hard this boss hits. So look at that. The good thing is I do have Battle Khazar, so it kind of makes it pretty easy compared to all the other dungeons that I'll show you. Next up, I'll show you Ice Golems 25, then Fire Knight 25, and then finally Spider 25, which I think is Spider 25, yeah, we'll get there and I'll explain what. So unfortunately, the loot table for stages 21 to 25 have not changed in terms of the amount of stars the items you get have. So it's still 5-star to 6-star, but I'm guessing the rate is a little bit higher for getting a 6-star. So we do get 6-star Speedwoods here with attack percent. We just sell these, but these are rare items, so you're not only spending 20 energy, it does take a little bit longer than my usual team. My usual team is about a minute to 50 seconds. I don't have Dracomorph. If I did have Dracomorph, he maybe could have done it in this team right here, but he is weak affinity for 25, so he might not be landing all the poison that you want him to for this stage. But definitely 1 minute 32 with this team is nothing too bad, right? Compared to, let's say, my fastest time for 20. I have 34 seconds here, but I think my actual fastest time was 45 seconds with 2 Royal Guards. Royal Guards are not used pretty much in any of the dungeons. So guys, now stage 25 of the Ice Column. I think this is very tricky as well. We have the two all-stars here, Lydia and Seer. You don't need Battle Khazar. Battle Khazar is a great healer and debuffer for this one. Poisons do do a lot of damage on this boss. And Arbiter is, of course, a champion that everybody has, I'm assuming, when they're trying to take down stages 25. And Rector Drath here will be kind of an assisting support champion, both for revives, for healing, but also for the decreased attack on her A1. Remember that you do need a decreased attack on that A1. Look at that, 1.2 million damage on the ads there. So taking down the waves, it seems trivial, but you do need a good geared seer. You do need a ton of setup for this. For example, I do have a shield set on my Lydia. You do need the defense down weekend in order to take the waves down as wave number 1. That is why I think that all stage 25 teams will have this combination of Lydia and Seer in there. You just need a big burst to take them down fast. They're level 350. I haven't found a team that does it as good as this one just yet. So this one's taking a little bit longer. I mean, I did have Krisk. I could have used Krisk in here, but I won't be using Krisk just to showcase, because Krisk is way harder to get than some of these champions. Lydia is hard to get, but it's not as hard as picking a Void legendary champion. So I would say the same with Bad Alcazar, but he was in a 10x recently, a couple of months ago. So here the thing is about the Ice Golem boss is that you need a block revive on the 2 ads to make this run the fastest you can, okay? We don't have a block revive. Lydia has a block revive, but it doesn't work as a block revive. It's mostly like a block for once for the revive by the boss. The most annoying thing about this boss is not having an attack down on the boss, and also just getting wrecked by that big AoE when the HP threshold drops significantly lower. So what we do here is take down the ads first. This will make the boss not ignore your defense when he attacks you. And also when you do apply decreased attack, there's a reason I wanted Rector here. So you see the deny of the revive from Lydia. This is a great reason to have Lydia in this team here. So we get double attack there, but we do have Bad Alcazar who provides that healing over time. We'll get healed quite a lot there. Boom. There's our first death there, but we do have 2 revivers in this team. The biggest way to take this dungeon down would be just using poisoners. More poisons on the boss means whenever he takes a turn, he just loses a lot of health. I would advise in strong affinity poisoners, Bad Alcazar, any other force affinity will be great here. You don't need the Seer combo, but the Seer combo will help you through the waves. And these stages will need to be beaten for picking up that mission champion. For example, like Arbiter, we needed to beat 20s. We're gonna need to beat 25s. Maybe we will even need to beat these under a specific time. Let's say under 3 minutes for this one. I've done it in 2:20 with Krisk here, but this one is a way slower team. And a block revive would be perfect here. Like a Zavia, even though she's limited in terms of max HP on the big boss, she would be great for the 2 ads on the side, because those are not limited in terms of what damage you do. And you would be able to block revive them and just save a ton of time in taking down this boss. So this has already gone for 3.5 minutes. I won't be farming 25 unless I have to. I won't be even... Well, I never farm Ice Golem anyway, unless I have to. So this is another reason for me not to farm it. But if I'm doing like a tournament, or maybe I need to do this for a fusion, yeah, I'll probably do it at 25. So yeah, this is my best time, 2:44, 3:41 here on this time. But I think I could have gotten a way better time. So this is the biggest reason for me I don't like stages 25. A 5-star rare. After all this trouble, having all these heroes equipped to their teeth with 6-star legendary gear, most of them. Arbiter is 364 speed. I mean, this is not an easy team to gear up to beat the stages, and the time doesn't, it doesn't justify the sacrifices. So next up is the more important one of all dungeons, I would say, especially for endgame players. Stage 25, beating it in a very reasonable time with this team. I'll just show you guys. So here I was using different varieties of Royal Guards. I used different varieties of the Cold Hearts just to get that time pretty significantly down. But I did end up using just this team. This one I think is the best team that I used, and I think it does it in a 2 minutes or so time. Archmage helmet there is fantastic in terms of control. We do have some damage here, but we don't take the ads down as fast as the previous teams, especially for wave 2. Wave 1 is okay because of Archmage, but wave 2 is a little bit trickier. If any of the ads attacks you, it's a one shot. You're dead. Okay? There's no way around that. So Archmage is so good here for the stun. Look at that stun. The gear that I have on most of my champions is Endgame. I have both the Cold Heart and the Allure in a Relentless set just so they can get some extra turns going. And nobody is under 200 speed. It's 250 plus for Lydia. This is really Endgame, and this is not it's not easily achievable. You can probably get a good amount of time, about 4 minutes or so, with the less gear than that, but 200 speed is required. Accuracy 250 is enough. You don't need more than that, and that's what I found out of these dungeons. So this run actually took way longer than I wanted it to. So 1 minute to actually reach the boss. I usually reach it at about 40 seconds. But you see here that the boss starts with 12 shields, and that's why you want to have an Allure in there. This is so important. We got a clutch extra turn there, but even if we didn't, we would have still established control because of how Allure works for beating stage 25 here. So look at that turn meter. Even with the nerf here, with this specific skill, Allure is still the queen of this dungeon. We do have Cold Heart in there, but she's there with the Relentless set, so she gets extra turns all the time. A lot of speed. I think my Cold Heart is at a 240 speed. I sacrificed critical damage on her, so I can even get all refresh gear on her, which means if she gets lucky on her A3, she will actually refresh it and do it bam bam back to back when attacking this boss. So we're already at 2 minutes. The fastest I did this was 1:54, and that involved a lot of RNG. So here's the extra turn, for example, by Cold Heart. Archmage, I think, is fantastic for this specific dungeon because you need that little bit extra control. He could have been used in the other dungeons as well, except for maybe Dragon 25, where he would be weak affinity, and he might have had issues in taking down the ads or stunning the ads. The buffs would be the same. He would assist here so much in actually taking down the ads, but still 2 minutes 36. This is not a bad time by any means. I would definitely farm this at 25 with this team. I have no issues in farming it with this team. So I'll show you guys all my gear in the end of this, just to take you through what kind of gear I had, but it's end game. I'm just warning you. It's nothing free to play friendly. Next up, guys, and finally will be stage 25 of the Spider's Den. Unfortunately, because of this change to the Spider's Den, the amount of teams that you can actually use here are very limited. And again, with Endgame Gear, you guys are going to see my final team here that I found to take down the Spider at a very reasonable time. You will need an HP burn here. The champions that we do have available with an HP burn as an AoE are again limited. I've covered those in the past in a video. I think Ignatius will be perfect here if you do have him. I don't have Ignatius personally, so I couldn't use him. I don't have any other real HP burn champion. I could have used Trunda here, but since I do have Venus, I did take Venus in here. Gergo here, well, the sole reason for Gergo here is because he does have a freeze on the 4-turn cooldown, 100% chance on all enemies. This is fantastic. Gives him an extra turn, so this is basically on a 3-turn cooldown. Fantastic way to just freeze all the Spirelings and establish control. Here, Lysandra, you guys know her as the Queen of Dungeons from the past. She still is the Queen of Dungeons in terms of turn meter control, and that's the sole reason I have her in here. She is weak affinity, but I don't care about that because of the amount of boost that she gives to the whole team. She gives a speed up. She gives a 30% turn meter boost, and she also steals the enemy's turn meter. It can, I think it cannot be a weak hit because it's actually just a steal. It's not an attack. Only her A2 can actually be a weak hit, which is more than enough for me to actually go in there and use this team. So let's go in there, and you'll see the team that I have for this one. So again, the Cold Hearts will be here for turn meter control, but also for some damage, which the damage side will be limited. It doesn't matter if you have a defense down on weekend on the boss. the amount will be limited, so you can build them differently. You can build them only with speed and accuracy. 250 is the max. The HP burn and freeze here will do all the work. So take a look at the HP burns, and whenever they tick, the boss's health just goes down way fast. Look at that. Very reasonable time. Very reasonable time. This was my best team that I did after working on this dungeon for a little bit. Honestly, there is not too much to do about it in terms of having the right champions if you want to have a very quick time. So here, my first cold heart is down. We got a weak hit there on the A2 by Lysandra. I think we might have an issue here. We got that cold heart going. We need another HP burn going. I think this should be enough to take it down. So a minute 10 maybe. Once a few take their turns, a few spiders take their turns, we should be okay. There it is. So a minute 10. It's actually my best time. I think the last one I did was a minute 30. It's not a very bad time, but again, 5-star gear. For me, it goes straight to the sell pile. There's no reason for me to keep that kind of gear. You guys know, as an endgame player, I have very endgame gear compared to the majority of players. So does building those justify the effort and farming 20 compared to 25? I think many players will still be farming 20 just because they don't want to break their teams. But the majority of endgame players will still be farming 25 just because of that extra small chance to get 6-star gear. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And we'll see if Plarium actually changes something. So in terms of gearing, I do have Gurgo here, the Ogre, just a lot of accuracy, a lot of speed. So 240 speed, 300 accuracy, because I did use him for arena, but I did change a few items on him, like all refresh gear again. I know it's very hard to get. Venus, nothing too special about my Venus, 249 and 359, 57 accuracy. She was used for Doom Tower mostly. The critical damage is way high, but you don't need that because you won't be critting all that much. And I mean, the cold hearts were still used, so I'll just show them in the end. I'm not going to show all the champions unless you guys in the comments want to see these very specifically. So here is the Relentless set cold heart, 232 speed, 71% crit, 218 critical damage, 229 accuracy. I don't think this is too crazy to have. I think the speed is a lot. The critical damage is not needed there at 218 because I do have a critical damage gloves, but it's fixed. The amount of damage that she does is fixed. I only wanted her for the turn meter down, and you guys are even gonna see the amulet that she has is an HP amulet. I think it's the same thing for this one. I did go for a lot of speed. So 75%, 294 critical damage. It doesn't change a thing for these dungeons. 213 speed. So I could sacrifice a lot of my critical damage, get more speed, get her to 250, and she would be even better than she is right now. And 256 accuracy. Both of them have Helm Smasher. You guys know it. And then finally my Seer and Lydia, which were the MVPs for the other dungeons. I did try to use 2 Seers for this video, guys. So Seer at level 60 with a Savage set and a speed set. So 213, 100%, 241, 260 accuracy, although she doesn't need it at all. But this accuracy is used for Doom Tower. The accuracy is only needed if you want to remove enemy buffs. Okay, so 100% crit, 240 critical damage, and 213 speed, which is a lot, and Helm Smasher. And then finally, my Lydia was built with... Where's Lydia? Here she is. Here's the beauty. Shield set, 256 speed, and 341 accuracy. That's it for her. Nothing too special. She does have some refresh gear, but honestly, it just makes the times that I'm clearing uneven more than you'll get some times that are very fast, which are not representative of my majority of runs when you do have refresh, but it's nice to have them. And I did use the accuracy mastery here, Eagle Eye, because of, well, she is used for PvP and Doom Tower, so she did need that extra little bit of boost to her accuracy. So this were my teams, guys. All 4 of my teams for stages 25. This is by no means a budget-friendly teams. I will be introducing budget-friendly teams in the future when we actually have this on my proper account, so that I can, all the work that I'm doing, it actually counts, because this one is a test server. I don't want to spend 40 hours building teams and then everything boof is gone when we actually get the real thing. So I just used my endgame champions here to showcase the final teams. What do you guys think of this showcase? I think when this video goes live, the actual patch will also be live. I'm not sure about that. I'll just have to see. If you're watching this and the patch isn't live, then I guess they'll just preparing us. Hopefully, I think they buff the drops. What I want to see is 6-star only drops from the dungeons. I don't care if it's a rare, but as long as it's a 6-star only, then I'll be okay with that. So this was the video, guys. This was the video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, by the way. It helps a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.